An eruption of violence involving outlaw motorcycle gangs in the past year or so has prompted governments around Australia to introduce tough new laws and expanded police powers. In New South Wales, it's now an offence to even associate with criminals. Defence lawyers and civil libertarians have warned from the start that the laws are open to abuse and could be used not just against bikies, but against almost anyone. Sean Rubenstein-Dunlop reports on the first arrest under the new regime.
It's a long way from the gun violence that's rocked the streets of Sydney, but like any town, Inverell in northwestern New South Wales has its fair share of troublemakers.
I've been in 3 times and I've done a month every time, so 3 months jail I've done.
I've been to jail 7 times and each time a valuable lesson's been learnt.
We've all had similar charges like assault and a phrase and whatnot.
I've got some change offered to go down and get a goon bag.
These streets are home to Jack Hayes and his mates. They've been in trouble with the law for violent offences since their early teens.
I've seen the paddy wagon at the top.
It's not just fighting over nothing, mate. It's over ex-girlfriends, over drugs, just fighting over who owes who money, just stuff like that.
We've all been hooligans and that.
The mate who's not here is Charlie Foster. The 21-year-old is back in jail for his second time, sentenced a fortnight ago to between 9 and 12 months for consorting with his friends.
I believe that we weren't in the wrong. We weren't doing anything wrong. We're going down the street to do our shopping and pay our rent. If we don't do that, we won't have anywhere to live.
Charlie is the first person convicted under New South Wales' new consorting laws, introduced to stop the bikie wars.
Well, that speaks for itself, doesn't it? Does. In the bath. God bless him.
Charlie Foster's mum, TRICIA, says he's always done it tough. He was born with an intellectual disability.
He can't read, and because he can't read, he can't write. He can write his name and stuff. He's all dressed up, thought he was just gorgeous, he is too. His father was an alcoholic. His father would be at the pub and Charlie would be outside the pub waiting for his father, and he met up with the wrong kids and he started to cut school, and that was how it all happened.
At 13, he had his first brush with the law and he picked up a drug habit. First it was marijuana, later speed and prescription drugs, including the opioid known as hillbilly heroin.
He's using Oxycontin. Look, he'll use anything he can get his hands on.
At 18, Charlie Foster was convicted of having sex with a 15-year-old girl. Later, it was driving on drugs, assault and a 12-month jail term. He got out 10 months ago and moved in with his best mate, Jack Hayes. Jack had been in jail too.
Me and Charlie have had one affray together, I think, and that's literally the only charge me and Charlie's had together. We haven't been charged together for anything else.
It was in April that Jack Hayes and his mates found themselves targeted by the new laws.
As soon as I've seen the paddy wagon, I've said to Charlie, here comes the filth. Charlie said, just put your head down, take no notice. Just kept walking. They pulled up beside us and told us to stop walking. They told us that they gave us a warning a few days before that.
They were picked up 4 times over 2 months.
We couldn't do anything. We couldn't do nothing. We couldn't even go down and pay our bills. It literally seemed that there was only one way that we could still talk to each other without being charged or locked up.
Another mate, Damien Case, offered Charlie an alternative place to stay. At age 23, Damien's been in jail 7 times. He was targeted too.
Having the police rock up to my door and giving us warnings for consorting here, you know, that sort of stuff's not on. I feel as though that's intimidating and that's threatening behaviour.
Charlie Foster's lawyer says he had no option but to plead guilty when he was charged last month with consorting with his 3 friends.
I was very surprised that he was charged with those offences. But I mean, when you look at the legislation, I mean, it fitted the legislation, the way it was handled.
I couldn't believe it. I still can't. You know, like, 12 months for talking to your friends? You know, these kids were friends long before they ever had gone to jail and served any time. You know why? Because they have all been to jail. Do they have to stop being friends? You know, that's crazy.
The lawyer who acts for the bikie gangs has offered to represent Charlie Foster for free and has lodged an appeal against his conviction. After successful High Court challenges against previous anti-bikie laws, Wayne BAFFSKY is hoping for another win.
Not because you've done anything wrong. I mean, this is the very thing the police said they wouldn't do, and they're doing it. I don't understand why people aren't jumping up and down and screaming about this. It isn't right. It's going against what the police said they were going to use the Act for. And now we see the truth of it. Everybody's at risk, and everybody's at risk before they've even tried to deal with outlaw motorcycle club members.
Charlie Foster's mates are afraid they'll be the next to be charged.
I've got a baby on the way, so I'm going to change my ways for my kid when it's born. She's due. She's a girl. She's due in 2 months, and I'm going to use this to give up the alcohol, hopefully, and change my life, and hopefully never go back, because my kid and missus is going to need me around. You know, they don't need me sitting in jail.
I don't know what it does to him. I can't begin to imagine. He says it does his head in, sitting in a room, and there's nothing to do, and, you know, all you can do is think about stuff, so I don't know.
And the New South Wales government and police declined to comment on that story because an appeal is underway.